Welcome to Everyday Ethics. I'm your host, Michael Liebowitz, and we are going to continue. We were supposed to do it Friday, but Persephone messed it up. So we're going to continue dealing with objections to the objectivist ethics. Please give us your super chats, your super stickers. Also, please tune in at 3:15 today for Crime, Culture, and Corrections. And note that the channel's new name is The Rational Alternative. And with all that said, I'm just going to let Persephone, a.k.a. Sephi, let everybody know what's what. Break it down, Persephone. Tell them where they can find what they can do, the whole deal.
I think your dogs are trying to do that for me. So obviously, please like and share the video if you haven't already. Also, please hit the bell icon so that you're notified when the channel goes live, because obviously now there's the Saturday show as well. Please go and follow on Twitch. We are 8 subscribers away from our goal. So please, if you have a Twitch account, go and follow us there. Also, you can find all 3 shows, Everyday Ethics, Hi Nicole, Everyday Ethics, Crime, Corrections, and Culture, and The Capitalist Corner on Spotify as well. And that's it. And now I guess we'll wait for Michael to come back. Hi, Katie.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't get things wrong. Akira came in and derailed the conversation as
All
he
right.
does.
So you're going to throw Akira under the
Of
bus.
course, you
Nice.
do it to me all the time.
I throw Akira under the bus to you all the time?
No, you throw me under the bus. You
Well,
throw everyone under the bus. It's like a habit of yours.
it is. But sometimes people need that in life, I think. I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there. I'm letting it be known.
I don't think that that's ethical. Explain to me how it's ethical to throw someone under the bus.
When someone has done what you're accusing them of, then it's fine.
But I didn't do what you're accusing me of. Therefore, it's not fine.
Oh, okay. Well, let's move on to the actual subject matter of the show.
Okay. So anyway,
Hi, Katie. Hi, Nicole.
so we're discussing common objections to objectivist ethics, and
Yes.
you sent me some stuff. So I don't remember what we've gone through.
Oh
I
no.
think anyway, I'm just going to read what I've got here. Okay. So if Ayn Rand, sorry, this is I'm reading directly from what you sent me. So Ayn Rand claims that life is the ultimate value because all values presuppose a living organism.
Okay, we did this already, I believe.
Did we?
I
I
think
think we
so.
were talking. I think we were talking about something else. No, we were actually because it was
Okay.
a different. It was a different thing.
Okay.
But
Okay, go ahead. Get to it.
so the deeper critique isn't just why live, it's this. She defines value as that which one acts to gain or keep, then argues that only living things face the alternative of life or death. Therefore, life is the ultimate value. But critics argue that that's structurally circular, right? The concept of value is already defined in terms of goal oriented action. And then life is said to justify value because it requires goal oriented action. So life grounds value only because value is defined in terms of life dependent processes. This is less a deduction and more a conceptual loop.
Okay, first of all, it's not a deduction at all. The fact of the matter is, once you have living organisms, you have entities that do seek to gain and or keep things in the environment. I personally, I wish that Rand would have included a second definition of value that she didn't include, but value can be defined as any object or quality desirable as a means or end in itself, anything that has relative worth or merit. So, I mean, the bottom line is once you have life, you have an entity for which things are good or bad. That's unequivocal. and that entity has to act in order to sustain itself. So, what do you define that which sustains it as? I mean, there's a phenomenon in reality that needs to be conceptualized. It's conceptualized as value. I don't see how that's an objection.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. I don't.
No,
I
no, no,
don't.
no. Be only fake honest with me.
Okay. I think you're wrong. I think rocks and stars do have value. No, what I was gonna say is I I don't think that if you ask AI for things, there is always going to be the chance that because a large portion of the population and a large portion of what the data that AI was trained on is going to have like some misunderstandings about the source material.
Well,
You
no, 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 no. I think that it got that objection from somewhere. I mean, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's making a mistake. Somebody that's
But
likely.
this is what I'm saying because people have misunderstood the material and they have written things and they have asked questions. AI is trained on data that incorporates the misunderstandings.
Okay, I have to rein you in now because you're taking us in somewhere we don't need to go. We're dealing with the objections. We don't need to get into a whole meta discussion about AI.
We do that all the time. Okay,
No,
so
but we're trying. I know that's the problem.
I think it makes life more fun. Okay,
No, it distracts me.
don't make your problems mine.
No, you're making your problem mine. Okay, get to the thing. What's happening?
Okay, so the next one is they say the unity of virtue thesis is fragile. So Rand holds that the virtues, honesty, integrity, justice, etc., are unified expressions of rationality and cannot fundamentally conflict.
Okay.
So the deeper objection is that real world moral life involves tragic conflicts where values genuinely clash. Not just epistemic horrors, but structural conflicts like loyalty versus justice. Some philosophers argue that values are plural and sometimes incommensurable. If that's right, the idea that all values harmonize under reason may be an over rationalized idealization, and objectivism may underestimate the reality of moral tragedy.
Okay, what is the question?
What do you think? Do you think that objectivism underestimates the
No, I
reality of
don't. But
moral
see,
tragedy?
okay, so I mean, look. Granted, we this is if I were in a debate with somebody, I
Mm.
would tell that person, give me examples. Give me examples where virtues conflict with one another. Give me an example where rational values conflict with each other. Unfortunately, I can't. I mean, I could do that to Claude if I were going back and forth, which is what I would do. Maybe you can ask Claude for an example or whatever that came from. But my point is, unless there's an example, it's difficult to say. I mean, I could try to invent one and then argue against it, but I don't think there is one. You
I
understand?
can't I
When,
can't
for
re-
instance, hold on. When, for instance, Persephone, would honesty conflict with integrity and pride, or justice conflict with productiveness, or productiveness conflict with any of the other virtues? It just doesn't make any sense.
Okay, Akira said that he left his latest moral dilemma on the website too late. I don't see it, so if you would like to submit it again, you can do so. Please, you speak while I do something.
Well, I've heard this before where people will say it's obvious that there's conflicts of interest against amongst rational men. Hello, Daniel. But I want some examples. That's what I would ask for. Are you asking it for some examples? Are
I
you
am.
going, awesome, Persephone's going to knock it out of the park right now?
Um, so while I do that,
While you do
oh,
it.
While I do it, okay, wait, we've got a question. So,
Okay.
on an episode of Everyday Ethics, Persephone was talking about people changing their profile pic to a purple square to virtue signal about domestic violence. I jokingly said that I was part of the problem because I have the Israeli flag on my Facebook. Lately, I've been thinking about changing it. It might not seem important, but for me, it really is a moral dilemma, as I don't think I can live up to the expectations of most Israel supporters. I've been attacked by Israel supporters for not being into ignoring the Constitution, sacrificing American troops, and giving foreign aid to anyone, including Israel. And I know this might seem like one of those I want a cheeseburger, so I'm going to eat it. But for me, it's a real dilemma.
I could go for a cheeseburger myself, but what is this is one of those things, right? Like, what is the reason? I see people do this. They put the American flag, I mean, the Israeli flag or the Ukrainian flag in their bios, and I just don't get the reason for it. I don't. I mean, if you support Israel, you support Israel. That's fine, and if you want to put it, put it. But now you're saying, well, Kira, is that it's got to be support up to a certain level. I mean, look, if you want the Star of David in your bio, put it in your bio. I don't really see the issue, but it depends on why you're doing it. Ultimately, I think.
I think I'm a little confused about what the actual dilemma is. You want to take it down because you think you're not giving enough support,
No, the
or you
dilemma
want
is
it.
he's not certain. He doesn't. He put that in his bio to express support for Israel, but given the level of support that other people are showing for Israel, he, I believe, is saying that he's not up to par with them. So why is he sending the message that he is?
Mm, it's virtue signaling of the intellect. That's why I jokingly said I was part of the problem. Okay.
But my answer ultimately is that it's going to depend on what your motivation is and what you're trying to do, and is it harming you, is it helping you? I don't want to really get into politics too much, but I do question. Somebody said to me, I didn't say. I heard somebody say something about somebody supported a political candidate who's against Israel. The candidate is running for governor of New York. I don't see it as an American citizen, or if I am a citizen of New York, that I have to check everybody's position on Israel before I can befriend them or vote for them or anything else. I don't know. If that's what the Israeli flag is meant to show, and that's not what you do, then I wouldn't put it there either. But if it's just meant to express sympathy with the people who, were attacked on October 7th, 2023, and are subject to constant terrorist threats and rockets and bombardments and stuff, or to show support for the fact that they are, the civilized country in the region, then I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, what does it mean? Does it mean that I put an Israeli flag, which means I'm going to commit Harry Carey if I have to for Israel? I don't know, Akira, but I don't know that you're doing anything wrong there. But again, it's your motivation. I think that is very important here.
Mm, I have no thoughts on this. I don't understand. Um, Okay, so if we're looking at examples of, or what Claude says examples are of values conflicting, discovering a close business partner or friend is being dishonest. Justice demands you act, but the relationship has real value and the cost of acting is real. Rand says rational loyalty doesn't extend to protecting dishonesty, but critics say that just dissolves the conflict by definitional flat rather
Fiat.
than result. I'm so blind.
Okay, you
Yes,
are.
that's what it says.
You're a blindy. Okay, so what? I like that. That the AI insists it's a conflict, right? Oh no, it is a conflict. And then when you say no, it's not, and you explain why, then it's going to say, oh, but you're just making it not a conflict by definition. Okay, what I am saying or in what Rand is saying is there's no conflicts amongst rational men and women presumably, and she explains the characteristics of rationality amongst the virtues. So if you have somebody that's being dishonest, there's no where's the conflict lie? Is it with justice? Is it with honesty? Is it with integrity? No. What it seems it's saying is there's a conflict between your emotional desire and what you know to be right. That's where the conflict is. It's not a conflict amongst rational virtues or rational values.
Okay, here's another one. The whistleblower scenario.
Scenario.
That was like more Spanish than South African. Justice and honesty point towards exposure. Productive self-interest and independence point towards self-preservation. The virtues don't obviously unify.
Well, you have to clarify what self-interest is. Is it in my interest to work for a company and keep my mouth shut when that company is doing horrible things? And
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to keep working for them. I guess it's like the choice between you can quit and not say anything, or you can
but
quit
that
and
but that
blow the whistle.
but what would be the point of the whole reason you don't want to blow the whistle is because you don't want to lose your job.
Didn't someone like get arrested or like I don't know. I'm sure there could be I'm sure there could be potential dangers to your
Well, then,
safety
of
and
course,
your
well, yeah, if you're dealing, but then again, this is part of the problem. If you're dealing, like, say, so you believe that if you blow the whistle, the person you blow the whistle on is going to murder you.
yeah.
Well, that now you're in a situation where the normal context has changed. Your life is in danger. You don't then say, okay, blowing the whistle is the intrinsic right thing to do. I'm duty bound to do it, and who cares about my life?
Okay, roll back the danger a little bit from I will be murdered to if you work in an industry where discretion is valued and you blow the whistle on a company and you're essentially blackballed in your industry. That that could be a genuine concern for some people.
The issue isn't whether it concerns you.
Mm.
The issue is whether there's a rational conflict.
Yeah, but that's
And
what I'm just trying to
I
solidify the example for
you
you.
can solidify as much as you want, but the bottom line is if working in an industry requires me to be a dishonest person or to turn a blind eye to injustices, then it's not in my interest to work in that field.
I mean, I get you, but also like do you see how they're saying that it could be as they say an over rationalized idealization because you're saying well no all of these conflicts are not really conflicts
Yeah, of
or
course
am I
that's what I'm saying. That was the question. That the claim is
yeah
that they're not really conflicts. So then if you bring in a conflict, am I supposed to say, "Oh yeah, that's really a conflict," when I know it isn't? I don't that doesn't make sense to me.
no I guess the issue comes in where people aren't really clear on what the values are and they're misunderstanding what a conflict am I explaining myself well? They're sort of misunderstanding what a conflict is and they're saying, well, this is difficult for me, therefore it is a conflict of values.
Right, but that's what I already said is that they have an
Yeah, but you
emotional
said it in you
pull.
said it in like highfalutin language and I'm just trying to dumb it
I
down for
said I
myself.
said they have a desire to do something that morality doesn't sanction. I don't think that's highfalutin language.
I was messing with you.
Okay.
Okay. So that was the one. They say that the unity of virtue thesis is fragile. So you disagree.
Yeah.
Okay. Rationality equals survival link is empirically weak. They say objectivism treats rationality as the fundamental means of survival and flourishing.
Okay.
But evolution does not optimize for truth or rationality, it optimizes for reproduction. Humans often survive and even thrive with biases, self deception, and irrational heuristics. So the critique is rationality is instrumentally useful, but not uniquely or universally required for survival. The tight identity Rand draws between rationality and life may be overstated. This weakens the argument that irrationality is necessarily self destructive.
Okay. Well, give me an example of how you build a bridge uh, being irrational, or give me an example of how you construct shelter that's going to keep you warm if you ignore the laws of physics, or or if you don't want to identify healthy food. I mean, how like everything that's productive in this world requires rationality. The fact that some people aren't rational and live anyway doesn't mean that their lives aren't dependent on rationality. If not their own, then somebody else's. I mean, somebody didn't figure out how to make a microphone in a computer by being irrational, right? I mean, there's people of mixed character and there's thought processes that are mixed, but what's creative and what is beneficial to long-term survival is rationality. Again, I would just ask for examples. I mean,
To me,
where do they come in?
To me, this one sounds a bit like, well, a woman fell out of a plane from 30,000 feet and she survived, therefore humans are indestructible. That's kind of what that feels like to me. Well,
Yeah.
some people survive and thrive even though they're not rational. Therefore, it's not required, but it feels like wrong logic.
Well, it is because there's no guarantees in life. No matter what you do, you're trying to maximize your chances for flourishing and for long term survival. And there's principles that put you in a better position to do that. There's nothing that's going to guarantee anything.
Yeah. Megan says this is spectacular misunderstanding of survival of the fittest. Human intelligence increases measurably every generation because intelligence is the most valuable trait for flourishing and propagation. Yeah, I mean, isn't that why we're born as babies and not like animals? Because our brains are so huge.
I don't know, but that's going to take us a little far afield from the topic of discussion.
Well, I mean, like when a horse is born, it can basically like do taxes from the second it's born,
Are
whereas
humans, what? What did you just say?
I said when a horse is born, it can basically do taxes. Because a horse, from when it's born, can get up and walk and run around. And,
But it can't do taxes.
no, obviously it can't do taxes. I was being,
Okay, the human brain relative to the size of the human body is huge.
yes, but we are born earlier and capable of less because our brains are essential for evolution.
I don't know,
That's
and
not the
I
right
don't
way
want
to
to.
phrase
I
that.
no, and I don't want to get. Were you? Did you drink today a little bit?
No, I don't drink. I'm just tired and I have a fever. Give me a break. Okay, did we discuss trade versus benevolence? Because I feel like this might have been one that I wanted to touch on or that we did
I don't
last time.
recall.
Okay, so Rand emphasizes trade as the proper moral relationship between people, but many valuable human relationships are not transactional. Parenting, especially during early childhood, care for the severely disabled, and acts of spontaneous generosity. Objectivism tries to reinterpret these as non sacrificial or indirectly beneficial. Critics say this stretches the framework. Either these acts are genuinely non self interested, which is a contradiction, or they're redefined as self interest, a loss of explanatory power. Oh, I remember. This is why I want to do our show on Saturday about selfishness. This was what inspired that.
Well, so what? Parents have kids. People have children because they hate the children. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
So, I mean, what they're trying to say is, or what I think that they're trying to say is that
Persephone, I know what they're trying to say, dear.
don't call me dear. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm tired and I'm distracted by crime. Corrections and culture. I give
Persephone,
up.
I get the sense that because you're reading these things from them, that when I object, you feel like I'm objecting to you, but I'm not.
I'm
I,
no, I'm reading, and then because I'm like so focused on reading, I'm paying less attention to what you're saying, so I'm catching threads.
but yeah,
Anyway,
the that's the idea that friendships aren't selfish, that or aren't in my interest, or that my relationships with women aren't in my interest, or having children is not in my interest. That's just silliness to me. I mean, I don't want to. I shouldn't dismiss it by saying it's silly. Let me put it this way: people choose to do this because they want to. If you have children out of a sense of duty, like some people think it's their duty as a woman, they're supposed to have children. If you're doing that, that would not be in your interest, right? But if you have children because the idea of caring for somebody, of raising somebody, of having the interactions with that child, of teaching it, uh, you know, that is in your interest. You're doing it because you like it, because you want to, because it benefits you. It what's the word I'm looking for? Enhances your life experience. That is obviously in your interest, if you ask me. How it wouldn't be? It would only be if you actually didn't want to do it. If you had a desire to become, a surgeon, but you had a child out of duty, then the argument would hold. But if you're having a child because it's legitimately what you want to do, because you know it's going to enhance your life, that is absolutely in your interest.
so a long time ago, like when I was a teenager,
Was it in a
I
galaxy far, far away?
it was in a galaxy far, far away from you because it was in South Africa, so it might as well be a different planet. Um, so when I was a teenager, I got into like almost a fight with someone, and this is well before I started like reading anything from Ayn Rand, any philosophy. And I got into a huge argument with one of my friends because they were trying to tell me that there are some things, a lot of things that people do that are selfless. And I'm like, and I said to them, almost everything that you do has a selfish motivation.
Ah, that's a
Usually.
different story, though.
Not
Persephone.
what
Um,
So what this is, I'm trying to explain the argument that I had when I was 17.
okay.
Okay. So that is what I said when I need to cough.
Maybe you need cough E.
No, I don't need coffee. So I'm just trying to explain what I said when I was
Okay.
17. Have I
Okay.
changed my mind since then? Yes. But
Okay. So you do think there's such a thing as a selfless act.
uh I think that most things that people do, they do because it benefits them in some way. Acts of generosity, having children, looking after children, even doing things that they don't want to do is usually because it has some benefit to them.
Okay, this is going to be great for our discussion on Saturday on self
I
interest
know.
because there's a confusion between motivation and what actually benefits somebody. Just because somebody thinks somebody's going to benefit them or does it hoping it's going to benefit them doesn't mean that they're right. In the case
Yeah.
of what we're talking about now, the person could turn out to be wrong, but it doesn't mean they're motivated by selflessness, and it doesn't mean that the experience is selfless of having a child. Megan says she desperately hopes her daughter gets half as much out of their relationship as she does. She's benefiting from it. So
Yeah,
it's
obviously.
it's not a selfless act.
To
All right,
have children?
not necessarily. No, it could be if you're doing it out of duty or because you think God is going to reward you. I mean, I don't know. There's situations I can think of. I'm just saying it's not inherently so the way that the AI seems to assume it is. All right, we got a minute left, Persephone. Tell the people where to go and what to do.
So follow us on Twitch. Find us on Spotify, the separate shows on separate channels on Spotify. Obviously, Everyday Ethics, Crime Corrections and Culture, and the Capitalist Corner. Don't be alarmed that the channel is now called the Rational Alternative. Um, Also, please join us on Saturday where we'll be discussing selfishness. Also, please, according to Robert Nacier, according to Objectivism, it is rational to let Persephone finish her sentences. See Introduction to Objectivist Epistemology. Thank you, Robert. I agree. It is rational to let me finish my sentences. You see, yeah, like I was halfway through.
I don't think they mentioned Persephone in either
They
place.
definitely do. At least in my copy, they do.
No, Persephone is trying to take us off the rails, Robert. And when that happens, you have to rein her in.
Robert,
That's according to Claude. Claude instructed me.
That's true.
To rein
that
her
is
in.
very. That is very true.
All right,
But
we will
please-
see you all in 15 minutes on crime, corrections, and culture. Thank you all very much. And until then, please be ethical.